Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. What happened, guys? We were winning 2-0 with 10 minutes to go in this game, and Napoli just, unplugged completely. I've never seen a team just give up like that. Winning comfortably, had the chance to make it 3-0, and Empoli score the first one. I don't know what Merit was doing for the second one, and then after that, Empoli score the third. All in the space of 8 minutes, Empoli score 3 goals. I've never seen that happen before. Absolutely disgraceful from this team. I think every single player that took part today in the game, every single staff member, every single person inside the club, the coach, from the president to the guy cleaning the kits, I think they need to look at themselves in the mirrors, apologize to the fans that went to Empoli today, because they were loud all game, they were supporting the team. They need to apologize. They need to reimburse those fans, because what was that, guys? What was that? The club needs to open an investigation into this game. Honestly, guys, it's that serious. It's absolutely awful what happened today. Don't think there's many clubs out there in football that are so weak mentally as this Napoli team. Year after year after year, we keep doing this. We keep putting ourselves in a position where it's not even that hard to achieve our goals. We just need a bit of consistency, and we just bottle it every single time. And it can't just be Spalletti or Gattuso or Sarri or Mazzarri or Benitez. Like, there's something deep within this club that is wrong. It's rotten. It just can't be every single time a coincidence. There's got to be something there that needs changing. Honestly, guys, like, it can't happen every single year. I just cannot trust this team to ever reach something significant. You see it all the time with other teams. They seem to always go above expectations. You've got the Atalanta of a few years ago that managed to go back to back in the Champions League. You've got Inter Milan that came back from the ashes and now are fighting for the title. Juventus that started the season horribly, and they're about to overtake us and are about to finish the season stronger than us. You've got teams like Salernitana down at the bottom that are going on 3 wins in a row. You've got teams in Europe like Villarreal who are in the semi-finals of the Champions League. You've got teams that are always capable of doing something special, and you feel like maybe they don't do something special this year, but they might do something special the year afterwards, and you just never get that from Napoli. Instead, what you get from Napoli is a team that you think maybe this year's different, but deep down you know that it's the same old story, and you know they're going to let you down, and you know that they don't have the personality or the means to do anything significant, guys. This is a team that I don't even know how we have a trophy in the last 5 years. Gattuso sneaked that in somehow, managed to go to penalties in that Coppa Italia final, somehow managed to beat Inter by just defending they basically parked the bus against Inter in that semi-final 2 years ago. But apart from that, just absolutely nothing for the last 7-8 years. Apart from that one Coppa Italia, absolutely nothing. You never get the feeling that this team can produce something. I don't care what you guys have to say about the starting 11 being good. If you don't have everything working in the club, the starting 11 is not enough, guys. And even the starting 11, guys, you can't tell me that this is, the strongest in Italy at the moment. You take a look at the players that Inter and Milan have, and they've got very, very good players as well. So, you know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because the season started off so well, but as you know, I think we can all agree that this team just isn't it. You know, it just isn't it, and it needs structural change. It's a bit like Manchester United, guys. This team needs to work on the recruiting. It needs to work on getting someone in between the players and the president, a figure like Sosa, like Lavezzi, like Hamsik, whatever. Someone needs to be there because every top team has that. We need a serious change deep within the club. We also celebrate victories that are insignificant, and we just get elevated disproportionately. We celebrated the win against Lazio a few weeks ago now as if we'd won the title. We had done nothing yet at that point, guys, but you know, the players felt like that was massive, and you know, and it wasn't, you know. You get hyped up, you lose concentration, you think you've done it, and then you get bit the next few games. You know, we need to be a team that gets 3 points, yes, is happy about it, but we need to be even more focused than the next game, because it's even harder to win the next one. Instead, we're a team that we managed to do something super insignificant, like win against Lazio, and then think that we've done it, we've accomplished everything, and we just fall from there because we lose concentration. And then we're a team that can't, you know, when something goes against us, we don't have the quality or the personality to pick ourselves back up. Guys, I just don't understand this team, honestly. None of us deserve watching this week after week, year after year. I'm fed up. I'm fed up by it, guys. It's unreal. Let's get to some of your comments. First off, I just want to thank Mike Harstead for the $2 donation and Payman Dadgar for the £179 donation, saying we'll explain collapse, but we looked poor all game. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to comment on this game on the chat. Let me read some of your comments. Daniel Bowen as well with the donation. Thank you. Dom, appreciate the dedication, and I agree we need that figure to generate not only mentality but also serenity in the club. Yeah, 100%. We need that. You know, we need someone there that can take some of the heat, and we need someone that can explain to the players that, you know, they haven't yet accomplished anything after so-called big wins, and you know, someone with that extra bit of experience that can generate a different result for us, hopefully, in the future. But, I mean, I talked about it in the video. You guys already know that video, so no need to go back into it. Anthony Navarro is saying, what is this club? We are disgraced at the top of the table. Yeah, honestly, like, we don't fit in there. We don't even deserve Champions League football at this point. Maximus1318 is saying, and this is why we don't win the Scudetto. These results here are unreal. Alessio Lucchini is saying, I honestly can't believe it. We need Di Lorenzo back. The defense is horrible. Guys, Di Lorenzo has been missing, and yes, we won against Atalanta, but then we lost against Fiorentina. We drew against Roma. We could have lost that game, and now we lost against Empoli. Obviously, Di Lorenzo is a super important player for us, and we really missed him. Zanoli, as much as he tried, didn't have the most convincing performances, even though he did play well against Atalanta. He got subbed off in between the first and second half, got subbed on for Malquit, who then gave Empoli the opportunity to score the first goal. I don't understand why Zanoli got subbed off. In no way, shape, or form is Malquit ever the answer. Ever. Maybe like in one game out of 1,000, he might be the answer. But honestly, wasting a sub with Malquit, you're more likely to make a mistake than to actually try, you know, fix anything with that. And that proved to be true. Johnny Depp, hope your trial is going well. Johnny Depp, it is the mentality of old system failing us. There's an overall lingering of choking mentality at Naples. Champions League spot is good for us, and I have a good feeling about the changes that will occur this summer. Yeah, 100%. It's as Chiellini once said about Tottenham, it's the history of Tottenham, he was saying, when Tottenham bottled it. And Napoli are just like that, it's the history of Napoli. We could only win anything important when Diego Armando Maradona was at the club. And since then, we haven't been able to do anything, really. A few Coppa Italias here and there. But that just goes to show that, maybe deep down, this club, this environment, is just not, it's not it to win, And guys, honestly, it's got nothing to do with refs. It's got nothing to do with any other thing. It's just us. We need to improve our mentality, the players, the club, sometimes the fans as well, because sometimes we're culprits as well. We get overly hyped about insignificant results, and that transmits to the players. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why it is that we do this, but it's honestly extremely hard. Paul Derricken is saying, is Insigne worth starting at this point? I don't understand why we act like we can't be Napoli without him. Yeah, I think Insigne, it is worth starting with Insigne, because actually Insigne the past few weeks has been one of the better players. He scored today, for example. He's been scoring penalties. At least I know now that if we get a penalty, Insigne is going to score it, which is, I don't know if I can trust other players. So, yeah, I don't think Insigne is the problem at this stage of the season. I think there's fundamentally something wrong with just the general mentality and the way Spalletti's been handling the situation. Even last week, saying that him and De Laurentiis had a bit of an argument about the subs and about all that sort of stuff. It's like, dude, keep that within the club. Keep that, private. Don't air out your dirty laundry. And he should be defending the players, taking on responsibility on himself. Instead, we've seen some of his recent interviews that he's not always doing that. He's always trying to find excuses, and that's not good. Anthony Navarro, thank you so much for your donation. Meret thoughts, Fabio Cannavaro for HC. So Meret, guys, Meret obviously had a horrible game today because of that mistake. If it wasn't for that mistake, he would have actually had a pretty decent game, because he did make a few saves. I thought he was coming out when it was needed. He was, getting to the ends of crosses. He was shot stopping. He was doing everything pretty much fine until that one moment. But when you are a goalkeeper, you cannot make those mistakes. You get punished for that, and it's not even the first time that he's been close. Like, there's been other times when he's been close to doing things like that. This time he got punished for it, and sometimes you take a look at some of his mistakes and you think, I don't know if Ospina would have made this mistake, and he's probably cost himself a position in this Napoli team. I think after this result, I don't think fans and the players, honestly, will want to have him in the team for next year, because he's just proven to be unreliable. And if there's one thing you want from a goalkeeper, it's just for him to be reliable. You don't want the keeper necessarily to save every single shot, or at least, in an ideal world he would, but you at least want reliability, right? You want someone that you can count on, you can pass the ball back to, and he'll take care of it. Because if there's no point in saving 9 out of 10 shots, but then, the players don't like to pass the ball back to you, because it screws everyone over. It really does. You can't play with the same amount of confidence. The defense is always worried. If there's one thing a goalie needs to do, it's to transmit calmness and positivity, and Meret just has never been able to do that, even though he is a good shot stopper. Let's see some more comments. Dante Esposito saying we need 4 points in the next 4 games to not bottle Champions League football. Guys, honestly, at this point, I don't even know if we're going to reach Champions League football. Honestly speaking, I don't know if we're going to reach Champions League football, because with this team, nothing is impossible. Like, this team is an airplane that has lost its wings, engines exploded, and it's nosediving downhill. How it's gonna land, I have absolutely no idea. There better be some giant parachute on the back of this thing, which realistically speaking is never gonna work. The aeronautical engineer in me is crying at the thought of an airplane with a parachute. But you guys know what I mean. Like, I really hope there's some, there's something in this Napoli team that they can dig out and use in the next few games. Whether that be, I don't know what it is, honestly, because we changed formation, we put Mertens and Osimhen, and that still wasn't enough today for the win. Obviously, we did get a goal from Mertens, and we were winning 2-0 with the chance to go 3-0 up because of players like Mertens, who honestly are much better than the ones that Empoli have. But so you can get these moments of brilliance from these players, but fundamentally, as soon as that one thing goes wrong for us, it doesn't matter who's on the field, the whole team just collapses. So even if we do have Mertens on the field, all we need is one thing against us, and we're done. Paolo saying it's a shame how we've let ourselves down after Fiorentina. Yeah, 100%. Dominic is saying, I don't believe what I've just watched. Let's see. John Ware is saying, this is a misery. Barone04 saying, at this point I may as well barrack for Juve. Don't say that. SSHE social experiment. Watches give away top 4 at this point, says ID Beats. So a lot of you guys obviously upset with the result, but keeping your humor, which is nice to see. Salvatore Di Brita saying, need Benevento to get promoted so we can have a good club from Campania to support. Honestly, guys, at this moment in time, Napoli is probably the third best team in Campania. I mean, obviously we've got Salernitana off the back of 3 straight wins that are maybe going to save themselves. We've got Benevento in Serie B, who are probably a better team than us at this point, and then maybe Napoli if Avellino. I have to check Avellino's form at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if Avellino today could have gotten at least a point out of Empoli. Empoli hadn't won since December. To bring this all into context, Empoli hadn't won since December, the last time that we played. I mean, it was the game that we played against them. So Empoli beat us, then couldn't win for 20 games? Couldn't win for 20 games, and now, they come back to winning. And if that doesn't explain how bad Napoli is, then I don't know. Because they've literally gone and played almost every single team after that win that they got in December, couldn't make it. For some reason, they go against Napoli, and boom, they make it. That speaks volumes. That speaks so much volumes. Anyways, I did a poll which has got 112 votes right now saying Spalletti. So I know that there's like 100 of you guys on this stream, but only 28 likes. And I'm a little upset with that because, I'm providing this opportunity for us to get together to speak about the game. The likes are not really about Napoli. They're really about the channel. It really helps me out if you guys sneak in a like there. Also, as you guys know, 1 like, or anyone that subscribes that is new, I do donate to the Fondazione Cannavaro Ferrara, which is a charity to help children in Naples. So please keep smashing that like button because, guys, to be honest, it is frustrating for me. Like, to be just straight up honest with you guys, coming here for the 3rd week in a row after Napoli put in another abysmal performance, for 3 weeks in a row, it's annoying. I just want to, after Napoli plays, sometimes I just want to, forget Napoli and go off and do other things, but I know I need to provide this for us so that we can vent and express ourselves. So yeah, I mean, I do want some of that love back if possible. Anyways, rant over. Claire Cooney is saying Meret is a disgrace. Yeah, he's completely screwed us over today. Let's see some of the more recent comments. A.T saying, I don't know if it's the team mentality is the problem or Spalletti doesn't know how to manage the team's fitness. The team, once the time reaches 70th minute, starts to shut off. AT, that is a super, super good point, and I completely agree with you. We've seen that so many times. We've seen that, sorry guys, we've seen that against Empoli. We've seen that in all the other games when, and it goes back to, I think, maybe the game against Inter at home. In the past 2-3 months, we've not had the fitness to really stay in the game the whole time, right? And the times that we did actually, get a late goal or anything like that, it did come from, for example, Osimhen coming on against Cagliari after he wasn't playing all game. But other than that, right, when generally speaking, we are actually a team that tends to drop off at the end. So it's frustrating, and it's true. It's a very good point by A.T. Let's see some of the more recent comments. Oh, I've got a $5 donation from Salvatore Di Brita. Thank you so much, Sal. How would we have done with Gattuso in his second full year had we kept him? Gotta believe it'd be better than this garbage. Look, one thing about the Gattuso experience is that I think we were a little harsh on Gattuso in the fact that he had a lot of injuries to deal with. He had personal problems to deal with, guys. In his second season at Napoli, towards the end, his sister died, and he had the problems with his eyesight. Those are huge personal issues, and he still managed to get us to within a point of Champions League football. And honestly, like that game, yes, maybe he could have made some different decisions. He played Bakayoko instead of Demme in the middle. Fine, I'll give him that he made a mistake. But honestly, guys, at that point, we were winning 1-0. It was 30 minutes left. And it's, again, I think the players are just mentally weak. And if someone like Gattuso couldn't get them fired up, then honestly, guys, these players are broken. They are carrying the scars from 2018 probably, when, we lost that game in Florence after thinking that we could win the title. And they're broken. This is a group of players that hasn't had the opportunity to heal from that. And I think that it's a lesson that after such a traumatic experience, because that was traumatic, what happened to that 2018 Napoli team, after beating Juventus and then going off and losing 3-0 the next week with, the Inter-Juve game in the middle. We all know what happens. That's traumatic. And I think after that, either you put in place something where the players can properly heal, or you have to change everything, get rid of the whole team pretty much and start new. Because I think a lot of those players that are still playing here today are carrying those scars, are carrying that emotional baggage, and they're just so scared every single time that they're about to reach an objective. They're so scared to follow through with it. Their legs start to shake, they get weak, and obviously then teams take advantage of that. That's, I'm no psychologist, but it must be that. It must be. I don't know what else, why this is happening to Napoli and it doesn't happen to other teams. I'm not a psychologist. I would love to have a sports psychologist on this show. If anyone is a sports psychologist, let me know. I'll invite you on the show. But this is something that I think needs to be studied at MIT or Harvard or something, because honestly, it must be psychological what happens with Napoli. Let's see some more comments. Gerard Hualpa saying, Dom, the departure of Insigne Lozano would be blessing in disguise. Look, these are two players that played well today. If I go to the player ratings, guys, there's three or four players that I think they're maybe the only ones that don't need to be ashamed of themselves, and that's Insigne, Mertens, Lozano, and Mario Rui. Mario Rui was the only one in defense who was also a threat going forward. At one point, he was on the left, had closed someone down on the right, then got back into position on the left and closed someone down there. He was all over the field, and he was trying. Insigne had a really good goal. It was positive going forward. Was sometimes the only player out of the front six that was tracking back. So Insigne had a good game. But I did give him a 6 because of his wasted chance when we were 2-0 up. Horrible shot. If we went 3-0 up, maybe we would have won the game. So half a point less there. Mertens and Lozano get 6.5 because they were involved in the first goal. I thought they played really well. They linked up well with Osimhen. Osimhen was wasteful today, guys. Once again, Osimhen... Well, not once again, but sometimes he has these games where he's a little wasteful. And the problem with Osimhen at times is that he sometimes creates chances for himself. And other times, what is a half chance, he actually makes it, he screws himself over. Like, he tends to always take the ball very wide. And then he's got a very narrow angle to work with. Sometimes he's got to approach the situation more centrally, more direct. The fact that he takes himself wide so often, I don't understand it, honestly. I think he has the speed to outrun people centrally. I don't know. Some of his decision making sometimes is a little questionable. When he's got time on the ball, it's a little questionable. The midfield today, no filter whatsoever. Anguissa, Fabian, horrible. Obviously, Anguissa was involved in the second goal, recovered the ball. Recovered a few balls, to be fair, but he did that very well in Empoli's side of the field, but then tracking back, he was nowhere. Every time our defense was super, super exposed, and he would not have the pace to track back. Fabian, which is not inspired the last few months. The defense was all over the place. As I said, Mario Rui, the only one that really tried, and then Meret with a 2 for his mistakes, even though he had some nice saves. Malquit 3, because you come on in the second half for an uninspired Zanoli, and somehow you are worse than him. And you give the ball away, and Empoli score the first goal. And then Zielinski and Politano come on, and they're uninspired as well. This whole team is just super uninspired. I don't know what's wrong with them. And, obviously, for some of you saying, Juan Jesus 4.5, Rahmani 4.5. Guys, these guys let Empoli score 3 goals. I don't care how many good tackles they had or whatever. They let Empoli score 3 goals. Something isn't right in that defense. So, yeah, is it a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to put such a low score? Yeah, probably is. Probably if I had the time to assess this a little more, then maybe, a 5. But honestly, you can't give anything above a 5 to a team that conceded 3 goals from Empoli. Guys, Empoli, not Real Empoli, just Empoli, So, yeah. Foxdrop is saying, la gente napoletana pensa sempre a cosa più male, no tenga cazzimma, sempre la stessa canzone. So I think Foxdrop maybe is Spanish, because there's a little bit of Spanish and a bit of Italian in there. So I appreciate you trying to speak Italian. So I think you might be from Mexico, because of the whole Lozano connection. Yeah, obviously you bring up a good point. Katsima, which for some of you guys that don't know is a word that means like grit, and it's so hard to translate Katsima, but it basically means grit and a little bit of cleverness in that grit, and a little bit of like just the Neapolitan spirit, and yeah, this team just doesn't represent us. It really doesn't. It doesn't have any hunger, doesn't have any passion, doesn't have any cleverness about it, which is, I think, all things that Neapolitan teams should always have, right? And yeah, this team is just so far away from representing its people, and it's no doubt and no question why. Um, there's been times this year when fans haven't gone to the stadium, and there's been a bit of coldness between the fans and the team. It's just this team just doesn't inspire us. It's not. We want to see a team like the one that we had under Mazzarri. That team was full of Cazzimma all the time, every single game. Marcellino is saying, I did sports psychology at uni. Marcellino, I want you to DM me your analysis of this Napoli team from that perspective. I honestly, that would be amazing if you could actually, try to analyze this team. It'd be super good insight. So yeah, give that a go. Let's see. Gattuso playing Maximovic and getting absolutely nothing out of Manolas was part of his problem, says Paul Derican. Yeah, Gattuso had some flaws. He got nothing out of Manolas, got nothing out of Lobotka. He got, not as much out of Fabian as maybe Spalletti has, but he got the most out of Insigne, the most out of Zielinski, the most out of Politano, the most out of Lozano. So he did do some things right. And I think it would have been so nice to have a little bit of a mix of Spalletti and Gattuso. Seems like we've gone from one extreme to the other at times. Anguissa had his worst game yet with Napoli. If you take away his easy assist to Insigne, he had a terrible game. The combo with him and Fabian doesn't work, says Johnny Depp. Yeah, I agree. Anguissa's been quite bad since November, and not only has he been quite bad since November, but this is probably like the lowest point, especially the first half. Recovered a little bit in the second half. This Georgian kid coming will be a major difference. He talks of his mentality are exciting. A player who has made good money yet decides to stay on the club grounds. He seems like a worry, says Johnny Depp, about Kvara. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Kvara could be good because he's an exciting player. He likes to dribble, likes to take people on, and he's playing really well in the Georgian league. I'm following some of his games. He's honestly doing some things that even if it's the Georgian league, they would still be valid elsewhere. The types of crosses he's putting in, the dribbles, the goals, regardless of where you're doing that, it's really good. Emmanuel Oris, wow, match was 1-0 to Napoli last I checked. What happened? What happened is Napoli happened. We are our own worst enemy. So let's see some more comments. Let's see. Fox Drop is saying, I'm from New York, but my parents are from Benevento and Avellino. Lol, can't speak 100% Napoletano, but Forza Napoli sempre. Okay, so my bad. I thought you were Mexican and you're from New York. Never mind. So we got the Malocchio, says Barone. So yeah, that's another traditional Neapolitan thing, which is basically like when you've got the eye on you, it's like all the bad luck is concentrated on you. I don't know who might have put this evil eye onto us, but it definitely does feel like that. It definitely does feel like everything is kind of going against us at the moment. But yeah, I mean, let's take a look at exactly how bad Napoli were, to be honest. So we've got 30 minutes into the game. We've got situations here where Napoli are just so exposed. We've got a 5-3 transition here. Fabian, Anguissa are super far apart on the left of the picture. You've got Mauro Rui scrambling to get back. Obviously, you've got the two central you've got Zanoli and Rahmani that are now playing as central defenders because Juan Jesus has moved up, pushed up to the ball carrier. The problem is that as soon as that ball goes to the left, whoever's carrying that ball has the pace to outrun Juan Jesus, and then it's like a 5v2 at that point. But we're just so out of position in the first half. Absolutely no filter in the middle. What should really be happening here is we should have a line of three in the back, and then we needed an extra midfielder. Instead, we've only find ourselves with a line of 2 over there, and it's just super easy for Empoli to get past us. Then next, we've got situations here where, we allow the person on the ball too much time to cross. I mean, the space between the crosser and the defender is just always too much. We never get close enough to crosses. This allows the ball to reach the box way too easily, and then the players in the box are, honestly, they're unmarked. Whether you want to go first post or far post, we're just really not tight enough over there, which is worrying, because at this point of the game it was 0-0. There's no reason to be this unbalanced. This is the sort of thing that you might see if you're losing and you put all your men forward to try to get a goal, and then you get hit on the counter. But at 0-0, we should never be seeing this from a team like Napoli. And it doesn't, it's not just about crosses coming in. Empoli were cutting us right through the middle as well. This is a few minutes later, and as I said, Mertens was actually doing pretty well until the 85th minute. He was coming out of his line, he was reactive, saving shots, and this was an example here where he got to the ball just in time. Otherwise, Empoli would have scored, but it was just way too easy for them to cut through our defense. But, I mean, just from this shot, you can see here how we've got the 2 central defenders, Mairo Rui, Fabian, but where's Anguissa? Where's the right back? Where's the rest of the Napoli team? It's just super disorganized. We had a chance here with Lozano, and we had one with Fabian as well. But we were, up until this point, quite wasteful in attack. Couldn't really, trouble the goalkeeper at all. But then luckily, we get a goal. Lozano crosses it in towards, the very edge of the box, and Mertens, coming in from behind, is able to get to that, tells Osimhen to leave it, gets to that, and scores. And this is what I'm talking about. When you've got players like Mertens, you can always get a goal like this. But at this point, it really did seem like Empoli were the better team. So we go into the break leading, but it was maybe undeserved for us to be leading at this point. And then here's another shot of just us being super disorganized. I mean, take a look at this, guys. This is our back 4 in a rectangle formation. I have no idea what's going on here. You've got Insigne as the closest player to the action out of the people that are not defenders. I mean, where's Fabian? Where's the midfield? I mean, if a cross comes in here in the second post, we're done. We're screwed. So just absolute shambles of a defense here. Rabona TV is in the live. Welcome, Adrian from Rabona TV. The squad has officially been sent to the Gulag again. You think the retreat will work? So that's huge news from Rabona TV. Let's read some of this news here. Adrian coming in with the news. So yeah, you're right. So Napoli announced, guys. Whoa, big update. Napoli have announced that starting Tuesday, when training restarts, the team will go in a permanent retreat. Guys, last time this has happened, we had the whole situation with Ancelotti and the mutiny and all that. And last time the players didn't accept it, and all hell broke loose between the players, the club, and the coach. I think maybe this time the players are smart enough to not repeat that same attitude, that they didn't want to go on their retreat, because they need to realize that they were disgraceful today. And it's the right decision. It's the right decision from the club. I'm actually surprised that Spalletti held the press conference because oftentimes when stuff like this happens at Napoli, we don't even let them have a press conference, the coaches. So, yeah, that's huge. Do I think the retreat will work? Honestly, it's embarrassing that a team has to go on a retreat. Will it work? It's so difficult to tell because I don't know if this team, I don't know if it's about the team not having chemistry, because this team does have chemistry. What will this retreat actually do? Will it improve Spalletti's decision making during the game? Will it improve their fitness? The fact that they are always dropping off in the 70th minute? I'm not so sure. I don't know if this retreat will work. I mean, let's take a look at the next games. There's 4 games to see if this retreat will work. We've got Sassuolo, Torino, Genoa, and Spezia. I mean, Sassuolo's a good team. Very, very attack-minded team, so that could hurt us because our defense is struggling at the moment. A bogey team for us. It's tough to know if it will work, guys. It's honestly tough. I can't see the retreat being something that will work, but I also think it's the only option that we have. Like, you've got to try it. If you don't try it, it means you don't care. So I think congrats to the club for putting their fist down. It's the right decision, but I'm not sure if it will work, right? I hope that makes sense. I think this team has just such fundamental flaws this late into the season that we found out about, that, the retreat is... It's not going to fix them, guys. It really isn't, honestly. But let's take a look at what Spalletti has to say, because I want to see his opinion about the situation. He's saying the Scudetto race is done for sure. The math tells us this. We cultivated this dream. It was an opportunity that we had created for ourselves with a lot of work and sacrifice, but the opponents were better than us. This game surprises me. I don't see a lot of final games or endings to games like these, and we need to speak about it. These are things that happen in football. If you don't have a strong character, then episodes can change the whole complexity of the game. We need to keep the ball a bit more. We need to show more quality. We went into a lot of difficulty today. We screwed up when we were supposed to go 3-0 up, and it's the coach's responsibility, and we need to evaluate during the week. My future is about next Sunday, and I want to remain. I wanted to remain here at Empoli because my mother is here. But after a game like this, I'm coming back with the team because we need to feel responsible for this. Everything that we said that we would do, such as fight for the title, we undid that in the last 10 minutes. We have to keep the foot down for all 90 minutes, but we weren't able to do that. They asked him about Demme. Why didn't they put Demme on, which is something that I was calling out for on Twitter in the first half. And he says, yeah, Demme, but also Tuanzebe. Why don't you ask me why Tuanzebe didn't play? The game went like this. This wasn't the right attitude to have. It's clear that with the changes, when you lose, then they're wrong. So he's taking some responsibility today. He took Mertens off because he wanted an extra midfielder, he says. We were losing something in the midfield. He's saying that he's responsible. Mertens, this is interesting. The president asked me what I thought about Mertens, and I said, according to me, Mertens is someone that we could keep. But it's something that the club needs to take a look at. Mike Har said, thank you for the $2 donation. If we can bottle Empoli, we can lose to anyone. Yeah, 100%. I just can't see how going on the retreat is actually going to help us. because this team doesn't have the athletic form, doesn't have the mentality, doesn't have the coach at this point of the season to recover from this. This is like a really, really low point. And to be honest, I'm maybe a little glad that this has happened, because if this will spur the club on to make huge changes this summer, then it's very welcome, because I think it would have been maybe too easy to get a 2-0 win against Empoli, having not played so well, and like just put everything under the rug once again. I think now the club needs to seriously look at themselves and think, what do we need to do? Because the changes are just too much, and it's so hard to understand what exactly needs changing. It's like, it's not something where it's like you just edit this little tiny piece and then it's done. Like the damage is so huge that you don't even know where to start. So it's like if someone were to write a book, one thing is to say, I'll edit the book, like you have a grammar mistake here and there, you missed the comma here and there. And one thing is like if your book is bad, like it's a bad book, like no editor can transform a bad book into a good book, So what we need to do to edit this club, I don't know, but it's got like we got to restart. Like we got to write a new book, guys. We got to turn the page. Honestly, like as much as Insigne has been playing well recently, he's got to go. He's the captain. He's as responsible for the last 6-7 years of Napoli bottling everything as anybody else. He's got to go. Mertens, as much as he's been playing extremely well, again, you've got to ask yourself, like, is he the problem? Is he part of the problem? Like when you look at players like Insigne, Mertens, Koulibaly, these are the guys that are meant to try to avoid these situations, right? So they can be really good players, but we need something else. It's got to be different, and it's a tough decision to make. But honestly, like, I wouldn't mind starting completely from scratch. I honestly wouldn't mind. Something's got to go. So yeah, but again, guys, don't ask me what needs to change exactly, because as I said, like, it's more than just a small edit. There's something so fundamentally wrong with this club, the way it's run, the way we interact with the fans, the way I don't know, everything about this club, even the whole Maradona merchandising thing, it was just so strange this year, like we turned Maradona into a marketing thing. Maradona's got nothing to do with marketing, you know what I mean? Like Maradona is just something that belongs to the club, is a legend of the club, and we almost disrespected it by how much we tried to market it. And it's just like, what's the club actually trying to achieve? Do they actually care about the club and the history of the club, or are they just trying to make money? Are they just trying to, I don't know, honestly. Everything about the way that this team is run is just not convincing. And yeah, I mean, obviously that's not why we lost today. We didn't lose today because of the Maradona merchandising and all that, but it just shows that maybe the priorities this year were not right, and the focus this year was not right. It's just a team that's trying to win the Scudetto, that needs to focus on the Scudetto. Come December, we needed more. We needed more effort being put into recruitment of players. And I mean, guys, we had 4 players that were leaving to the African Cup, and we bought no one. We got Twanzebe, who's a reserve for Manchester United. From Manchester United, what we needed was winning mentality, and we go and take the one player from the one club that's doing worse than us in all of Europe in terms of bottling things. There's not a club worse than Napoli except Manchester United in terms of mentality, and we go and the one player that we bought this winter came from that club. That speaks volumes of the recruiting of this team, right? So I think we needed someone with a lot more personality to come into the team, someone with experience, someone that could actually raise our level, and we screwed it. We screwed it up. So maybe the focus was elsewhere this year. Maybe they wanted to focus their attention on other things. I don't know, honestly, guys. It's just so bad, so bad. Tiemen Linan is saying, what transfer would you make in the summer? Honestly, so many transfers. It needs a different video. But as I said, it's not even about players coming in and going. This is a very similar situation to what you have at Manchester United. This is a situation where the internal mechanisms of the club are wrong, or you can have better players. We've always increased the level of our squad in the past years. This is the best squad we've ever had, and we remain with that same old mentality, and we remain with the fact that we do bottle things. So it's not really about what players we're getting. It's about what changes are we making within the club. Are we getting a sporting director that has European level experience? Are we getting someone in between the players and the club that knows how both things work? We've not got a Zanetti or a Nedved or a Maldini in the club right now, which I think every big club should have. Is our president focused on winning the title, or is he focused on making money and marketing and expanding his brand? What is it that we are missing? There's so many things. So it's not just about the players. There's so many things that are wrong with this club at the moment. So yeah, who has the poorest mentality? Napoli, Spurs, Man United. I think Man U probably is in a worse position than us in terms of mentality. But yeah, these all three teams are quite bad, just quite bad, honestly. I don't know. I don't think a retreat will solve anything. Maybe in the short term, but we need something so different with this team. Is this the most embarrassing loss you've seen? Says Rico25. No, I think EmpoliNapoli 4-2 was super embarrassing. Back when Benitez was at Napoli and Sarri was at Empoli, that was pretty embarrassing because we got really outclassed by Empoli that time. Another embarrassing one was, well, I don't want to talk about embarrassing defeats, but yeah, Empoli are always tough for us. Always tough. So yeah. Shocking to think that this club beat Liverpool and tied against PSG not too long ago, says Salvatore Di Brita. Yeah, it is. But this team, it is capable of winning that odd game, right? I mean, just like Spurs is capable of getting to a Champions League final. Man United got to a Europa League final, was it last year? So, I mean, they are capable of doing very, random things like that, but they are not capable of sustaining a title challenge. That's for sure. And that team, that did beat Liverpool and did beat PSG, I mean, that was group stages, guys. That's not even when it really mattered, right? When it really mattered, that team lost to Liverpool and got third in the group, right? Liverpool and PSG went through. So this is a team that when it actually truly matters doesn't perform. Because one thing is doing it on day 1 of the Champions League, and one thing is doing it on day 6, the last game of the group, and then one thing is doing it in knockout rounds, which again, Napoli is not very good at. This team just cracks under pressure. So, yeah, that's unfortunately the thing, guys. We were on the analysis. Let me just wrap this up here. So that's the really poor Napoli defending. Look at this. For anyone new that's on the chat, this is how Napoli's defense was. Just all over the place. We did get a few chances, with Osimhen, but as I said, he's got this situation here where, honestly, like, in this case, I think he's got the speed to continue on his left foot, take it past the defender, and try to score with his left. Instead, he takes it back to his right and just makes the angle really hard for him. We then score a second goal. Anguissa recovers the ball. Insigne scores with his left. But then, with 10 minutes to go, Malquit tries to dribble past an Empoli player. Don't really know why he tries to do that, but you can see that Anguissa is not giving him the opportunity to pass the ball forwards. I mean, he's got Insigne that he can pass the ball to, but you should never really only have one option. You should always have 2 or 3 options, and we've got Fabian and Anguissa both covered by Empoli players. That should never happen. There should be a Napoli player in that area of the field where no one's in front of Malquit, so that he can pass it to Anguissa, and then Anguissa can triangulate either towards Insigne or pass it on through to Fabian. But we've not got that. So Malquit loses the ball and Empoli scores. Then this is a chance that Empoli had to make it 2-2, but that they missed. But I just want you guys to take a look at Anguissa marking this Empoli player here, and then about 4 seconds later, that same Empoli player is the one who gets to the end of the cross, and Meret is forced to make a save. But how did Anguissa fall so far back? He's just not tracking back. He's got no motivation, no desire at this point of the game to keep Napoli ahead, right? And I mean, it's 2-1 with 8 minutes to go. You need to be scrambling back and not allowing so much time and space for players. Luckily, Meret here makes a save, but then a minute later, Meret screws up quite badly. Tries, a moment of hesitation, really no need for it, and Empoli score 2-2, and then they immediately score the 3-2, where all it really takes is one decent cross to the far post, and Napoli almost always concede. So, yeah, that's the game. Foxdrop, thank you so much for the £4.99 donation. You guys have been super nice today, by the way, with your donation. So thank you to everyone that does donate. I know it's super difficult, processing this loss, but thank you guys. You guys are really nice, so I really do appreciate it. Dom, regardless how bad Napoli is playing, glad you're still making these videos. Hopefully next year is a better year. Yeah, hopefully next year is a better year. And of course, as I said before, sometimes when Napoli lose, I just want to close everything down, forget that ever happened. But not only is it a responsibility of mine now to, make sure that I make a video for all you guys, but it's also a good therapy for us, for me, for you guys. So I think it's a good thing that we have this channel. But I wouldn't be doing it if you guys weren't participating and on the chat and everything, smashing that like button. So thank you again. Tris says, been waiting all season for us to get punished for messing about with it in our box. Yeah, and we insist on playing at the back with Meret, even though that's not his strong point. It's 2-1, 8 minutes to go. You're not trying to score another goal. Just play the ball long. There's times when I guess you could take a risk. Like in the first half, if you are 0-0 in the first half, fine. You're trying to get a goal, play from the back, because maybe that allows you a better chance to score a goal, right? If you can get past the Empoli pressing. But if it's 2-1 for you, and it's the 82nd minute, Why are you risking playing from the back with someone that's clearly not comfortable with doing that? And that has to be on Spalletti, right? That has to be his fault for not telling Meret to not do that anymore past a certain point of the game. So yeah, not good at all. Napoli's problem is at the player level. When leadership includes Insigne, it's difficult to create certain dynamics within the team for long-term success. Players always on edge. Yeah, honestly, I agree with that 100%. You know, it's what I was saying before. Like, some of these guys, they're such good football players. Insigne is an incredible football player, Mertens as well, Koulibaly as well, but they're not able to transmit the right mentality. They don't have it themselves, maybe. So, I mean, maybe Koulibaly does, and maybe he's proven that he does because he has won the AFCON, and honestly, when he is captain, Napoli do tend to play a little better. But Insigne, he's just a little too emotional, a little too much, and you want a captain that can keep it together a little bit more. You obviously also want a captain that isn't jumping ship 6 months before the season starts and popping champagne when he signs that contract, right? So, yeah, honestly, you know, not ideal behavior from him. Probably not why we lost today. But still, it's probably why we weren't able to maybe push harder for the title in other parts of the season, right? Because I think now Insigne is actually playing decently, but there were times when the whole Insigne situation to Toronto was happening that Napoli's results did suffer, and maybe that at that point in time that was an issue. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for subscribing, for all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for having smashed that like button. I know it's difficult when we lose a game, but you know, I appreciate that. Hope you guys got your thoughts out of your system, and hopefully they've been read out. And yeah, next time, guys. Hopefully they won't ruin another one of our weekends. So yeah. Anyways, guys, have a good one, and Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.